Hi everybody, I'm here to talk about common sense. And common sense isn't very common. So I thought I'd look at the common sense that Gurdjieff talks about. Do you have common sense? Are you using your common sense in your everyday lives? Well, Gurdjieff says in Life is Real, those in whom data for common sense reflection are not yet completely atrophied, data which are formed in the psyche of man during his preparatory age may perhaps cease their self-ruination and self-preparatory age, can't say that word, as we're growing up, how we're being um, advised by our peers or taught by our peers and our family and our teachers and our friends. And, we often get misled by people and there's a little something in our head saying this isn't right because it's not common sense. People often don't talk common sense. I'm sure you've met people that talk absolute rubbish. I suppose Gurdjieff would call that mechanical talking, where we just chat away without thinking about what we're saying. But with common sense, we need common sense to get through life. We all know it's common sense not to touch an electric fence, because we know it will electrify us when we touch it. We need common sense for, things like that. It's common sense to cross the road when the green man's flashing and not the red man's standing still and those cars going back and forth. It's all common sense. But do we have it from birth, or is it something that's put into us? Are we taught it? Some things we do know are common sense. We have that sense in us, which is the common sense, telling us whether it's right or wrong in a common sense type of way. So in Meetings with Remarkable Men, Gurdjieff says feeling is the foundation of common sense. And it is a sense, isn't it? You're feeling, common sense is in the name, and you're also feeling whether it's the right thing to do. What is common sense? It's knowing not just right from wrong, but also what will save your life and what wouldn't. What is common sense in, you don't drive 1,000 miles an hour, you drive at a sensible rate kind of thing, because it's common sense to, because you're saving your own life and other people's lives. So Gurdjieff goes on to say in Meetings with Remarkable Men, I like work with my common sense. And so when we're doing the work on ourselves, it's our common sense that will hopefully direct us in the right way, into thinking in the right way, feeling in the right way, and moving in the right way. It's you don't jump off a cliff and think you're going to land. You jump off a little wall and you will land. It's common sense of, in that if you jump off a cliff that's really high, you're probably not going to survive, and you're not going to land on your feet unless you're, some superhuman being. So he goes on to say, the resourcefulness, breadth of view, and above all, common sense developed in me by correct education. And he's talking about the education he's having from his teachers when he's meeting all these remarkable men. And common sense also comes with viewing the world and how everything runs and how things are going. We use common sense to navigate our way around things. But also, when we're doing the work and we're studying Gurdjieff's teachings or Ouspensky's books or Knott's books or Raji's books, our common sense is directing us in the right direction of understanding what they're saying. So he's saying, in views from the real world, judge everything from the point of view of your common sense. Don't accept anything on faith. So I know you just said, I'm just saying, judge the books or what you're reading, but it's that common sense that's telling you what to take in, what to go through. Because you're fine through reading these books. You read them again another time, a year later or something, and you'll get something else from them, something different. So that common sense is navigating you to what you need at that moment. Continuing, views from the real world. Take, for instance, a man of common sense. He is studied and knows that hallucinations can occur. He knows they cannot be real. So in his personality, he does not feel them, but in his essence, he is afraid. Because your essence is telling you, with the example of hallucinations, that something else is going on. whereas your personality is being taught by your peers and lecturers or whatever, that hallucinations happen. There's something, a chemical imbalance maybe, or you took some bad acid or whatever. But your essence is telling you something else. Hallucinations telling you something's wrong. So listen to your common sense there. If a man has common sense and sound logic, any action may change his opinion and his will, in quotation marks. And will is really important. Developing our will is developing ourselves, because our will is what's needed. We will ourselves to work. We will ourselves to love. We will ourselves to become the I am. Our wills, is it an emotion? Is it an intellect? I don't know. It's something that's spoken a lot by other teachers as well. The famous one of Crowley, Aleister Crowley, saying, love is the law, love under will. Though love is a law, we need that will to generate ourselves, to develop ourselves and follow it. And it's our will that drives us. And if we've got a weak will, we easily get distracted and go backwards, or don't follow through with our work, where our common sense drives our will forwards, because we know we want to become that better person, that harmonious person. So still from views from the real world. But if I use common sense, why should I be angry with someone who gives me a disapproving look? You should establish it as a strict rule that you must not pay attention to other people's opinions. You must be free of the people surrounding you. So our common sense is telling us not to be distracted, not to be involved with what other people are thinking and saying about us, whether it's to our faces or behind our backs. If it's to our faces, good that they're being frank, but don't let it destroy you. Instead, your common sense will try and figure out why that person said that to you, and whether they're right or wrong. It will help you navigate through that feeling that it's been given you. And so, from In Search of the Miraculous, in times of mass madness, such as wars, revolutions, and so on, when men suddenly seem to lose even the small amount of common sense they had, they turn into complete automatons. And that I do see in my everyday life. I see that people that are not using their common sense are very mechanical in their ways, and just follow through with what anybody else is doing, follow the pack, as they say. I've always tried to go in the opposite direction of the pack. Very rarely is the pack going in the right way. Use your common sense, and your willpower will develop from that and start working you in such a way that you're listening to your common sense and following it. Though it is a difficult one, because sometimes we do kind of doubt ourselves. So if you can try and find that feeling of common sense in yourself, then hopefully you will develop your will and go forwards. I don't really know what else to say about it, because it's a kind of subject that you've got to find in yourself. Common sense, like I said at the beginning, isn't very common, but it is there. Just try and use it. Take care, everybody.